Welcome back. I'm Shelf Unit, and this is my continuing Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition. So last time we delivered our message to Bao in the Walled City, completing our mission without any casualties, as was asked, and we came back and we've now bedded down in a giant boat. So we will now go and get some sleep. Probably about halfway through there'll be an alarm going off. That's my banana bread in my oven ready, so I apologise in advance for that. I will do some editing later to cut as much of that out as possible. But anyway, until then we shall move on with the game. Let's go to sleep. The cot in your cabin is neatly made, with crisp-looking sheets and an insulated plastic blanket. A fine layer of dust coats its surface. It's been a long time since anyone's slept here. Let's go to sleep. You climb into the cot and worm your way under the sheets. They've been starched stiff as boards, but you've slept beneath worse. The lice and bed bugs that plagued your old prison cell are mercifully absent here, and the salt air is fresher than the rancid stink of the Redmond Barrens. The moment your head hits the pillow, exhaustion sets in. You can barely keep your eyes open. Sleep washes over you like a warm bath. Everything goes black. And indeed it does. Oh, dream time. Ooh, nice. Ish. The dream is suffocating, the shifting tunnel of glass and steel, the towering silhouette of the dark majesty, the shadowy doorway, and the teeth. You snap at your heels as you claw your way back to consciousness. You open your eyes to Duncan looming over you. He shakes your shoulder roughly. Sarah! Come on, Sarah, wake up. We've got to go talk to Kindly. The others have already left. Blood drooling? He lets go of your shoulder and smirks. He was sucking your thumb pretty hard. I miss my blanket. He looks around the room. Yeah, I missed a lot of things. Then he cocks a thumb at the hatch. We gotta go. I've been trying to wake you for a while now. You were thrashing around in your sleep. Glad you did. I was having one hell of a nightmare. He reaches up and rubs the back of his neck. Yeah, I didn't sleep well either. I had a bad dream last night too. What about? He shrugs. I never remember my dreams all that well. It was probably motion sickness. I used to sleeping on a boat. I woke up a little while ago, hit the head. Then I came back and woke you. You doing okay? I'll survive. His fingers hit a knot. He winces. But man, nothing's gone right since we stepped foot in this country. I'll tell you something though, and this is after a full night's sleep. I don't believe Ray's dead. Why'd you say that? Think about it. That statement from the cops on the newscast could be fake. Ours was. And that surveillance footage, we never saw Raymond get shot. Cameron was hit by stray gunfire. His passion's intense, but contained, focused. Raymond's alive, Sarah. I know it. You make a good case, Officer Wu. He smiles. His teeth are white and straight and perfect. Should have been a detective instead of a headbuster, right? His smile fades. God, I feel like I'm 12 years old again, squatting on a stinking trawler. My partner's gone, Raymond's gone, hell, I'm gone. I don't even have a name anymore. And now I can't even go to sleep and hide from it all without having a nightmare. His jaw tightens and his teeth grind so loud you can hear it. What else is going to be taken away from me? You still have that piercing you got in Tacoma? I had to drop that. Hygiene issues. Wu struggles to smile. He fails. What the hell did we fall into here, Sarah? I mean, what's coming next? Isn't it obvious? Look around, we're sinless, living in the shadows, dealing with criminals. He was silent for a moment, when he got his blank expression. You're thinking of becoming a Shadowrunner. He says it without judgment, just a statement of fact. I think we already are Shadowrunners. I think. He stops and crosses his arms, considered. I think this whole thing has been a blur. I haven't been able to really stop and think for a second. He shakes his head slowly, lets out a groan. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a cop. Keep your gun. That's something. Don't mess with me, woman. He checks his watch. Gobbert and Isabel left a while ago. We should get going too. See what the Triad lady has to say. You run quite fast, I have to admit. Ooh, somebody, is that? Yep, that's the guy who we were delivering the message to yesterday, I think. Kind of this place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. Clicking a mahjong tire. Why the hell would a gang boss be in there? That sort of a place. Oh, I suppose if he's pissing himself and has been having the shit beaten out of him. Looks like a plastic sheet there. Connie's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. Clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In its place is a low murmur of laughter and an area of eager anticipation. All eyes are focused on the groaning figure kneeling bloody and bound at the feet of kindly Cheng. She beckons to him with her finger and he struggles towards her, the loud rustling of the plastic tarp crackling under his knees as he moves. His pants are wet with fear. And a acetylene torch lies on the table at Cheng's right hand. Kindly Cheng ignores the scene. She behaves as if all's right with the world. How did you sleep, my little ones? Not too well, Auntie Cheng. I had a bad dream. You register a brief hesitation before she responds. You poor darling. Perhaps it's the food here. I understand it can be a bit too spicy for outsiders. Still, a bad dream is better way to spend the night than getting a bullet in the ear while you sleep. She flicks a mahjong tile at the kneeling man's head. Wouldn't you agree, shitbird? She indicates the kneeling man with an incline of her nose. Shitbird here is a plainclothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before his competition got to you first. My men found him outside the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to it that your rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. She nods her head back towards the pillar of meat standing behind her. You can thank Mr. Bow for that. Nod at Strandler Bow. Bow inclines his head 1/4 of an inch. She addresses the bloody man on his knees. Now, shitbird, tell my friends here what you told me. No, I don't know anything, I swear. We just got the orders last night. He pushes his head towards you and Wu from the floor, struggling to keep his balance. Somebody high up wants these two dead. The whole department's on it. I don't know anything else. There's someone from high up. The old woman lifts her foot, taps his chin with the toe of her shoe. How high? Cop looks up at her, looks around the room filled with Triad soldiers. One of them opens his coat and shows the cop something inside. He closes it slowly and winks. The cop drops his head to his chest. Hold the way up. It's someone on the council. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead? Cheng spits on him with a sneer. Fuck your ancestors to the 18th generation. Give me the truth. Cop wears the spittle. He never lifts his head. It's the truth, madam, I swear it. Whoever it was labelled them terrorists would terminate with extreme prejudice. Kindly Cheng shuffles closer to the kneeling cop, reaches down and strikes his head with her hand. Then she slowly digs her fingers into his cup. She pulls back hard until his chin points high. Triad boss leans him close and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. She lets go of his head and smooths his buzz-cut hair with her hand. For whatever reason, last night someone on the Executive Council of the Free Enterprise Zone ordered the Hong Kong police force to kill two nobodies from Seattle. I found that fascinating, don't you? Yeah, but why the need to label us international terrorists? She strikes the policeman's cheek with the back of her hand. Her rusty voice becomes sweet as she explains the ways of the world. Propriety, my darling. When the government has someone gunned down, they prefer to make it appear justified. People feel safer when their murders feel like part of civilization. My, but you have definitely fallen into the deep end of the pool. Seattle isn't like Hong Kong. There the megacorps control the government. Here the corps are the government. The exec council is chosen by the corporate board of governors. They're basically the legislative and executive branches of the Hong Kong government in one tiny package. 8 people call all of the shots, meat and deficient. Guarda Cheng steps back from the cop and lights one of her thin black cigars. For the wage slaves and the civilian sheep, the corporations are a pantheon of gods who wield absolute power. She looks around the room, but not for us. The Dryad woman takes a long pull from her cigar and taps her ash on the kneeling cop's head. Who else knows about my guest's visit, the hairy shitbird? No one, madam. I hadn't called it in yet. I wanted to kill for myself. No one knows they're here. I swear it. She turns to her enforcer. Mr. Bao? Bao fiddles with the PDA in his meaty hands. He's telling the truth. No outgoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao. She nods at the cop. Thank you for your honesty. In one smooth motion, Strangled Bao produces a silenced pistol, fires it once into the policeman's head and replaces it in his jacket. His face never changes expression. I wonder what we were going to do with him. Cheng takes a drag on her cigar, indicates the body. He knew, my darling. He knew. She balances her cigar in her shot glass, picks up some mahjong tiles and begins playing with them absently. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involving the walled city, something having to do with prosperity. And this executive council member wanted Raymond dead for it. She stacks her tiles one by one. Click-clack. Now they want you dead for it too. Click. This plastic-faced man may show up on your door one day too. She knocks the pile over and it clatters to the table loudly. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. A smile lights up her dead black eyes. Work for me. With Nightjar and Gutshot dead, I find myself with 2 job openings. Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here. Players have unaffiliated with the Triad to take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about town. You've proven yourselves resourceful and you have no existing connections here. That can be positive in this kind of line of work. Shadowrunners. Ghoul grunts, as your Titans, but he stays quiet. In exchange, I will keep you safe from pests like this one. She nods at the body on the floor. The pool of blood on the plastic wrap continues to widen. You will have safe harbour for here in my town and a steady source of income. She picks up a handful of tiles again. And while you dip your toe into the waters of corporate espionage, organised crime and clandestine mercenary actions, I will employ my network to find the plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, who he's talked to, who stood to gain from his death, and what this prosperity could be. You bring out a lot of effort to help a pair of foreigners. Not foreigners, my sweet, valued business associates. I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then order the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. Her voice drops and she becomes deadly serious. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Fate dictates it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. We're Westerners. Isn't that a liability in this business? Oh no, on the contrary. There's an good market for out-of-town talent that's just waiting to be exploited. Plus, you're unknown. A surprise, if you will. I find the right jobs for people with your talents. You do what our clients cannot do for themselves. I'll take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You make a lot of million very quickly. It's all very civilized. She leans in. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money. Let my network work for you and help you find out what you've gotten yourselves into. Without my help, you won't last a day out there. You are completely out of your depth, I'm afraid. You'll need a partner. Kindly Cheng will be your partner. Wu's hands go to his hips. He drops his head and shakes, a little amused. It's just like you said, Sarah. Shadowrunners. Glad I had some time to think about it. Process. He grips the back of his neck, squeezes hard, rips his hands away. Ah, fuck it. I'm not a cop anymore. That guy's dead. He nods. The decision's made. I'm in. What about you? I think we're still alive too. Let's run the shadows and figure out what happened to him. Raymond's alive, I'm sure of it. So I'll run the shadows as long as Auntie Cheng keeps up her end of the bargain and helps us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm going to find my father. Then it's done. Why, he is now open to you. She gestures to her lieutenant, who raises a finger to her ear and whispers into her sleeve. First order of business. Sarah Evenstad II and Duncan Wu don't exist anymore. You'll need street names. Wu sighs. Okay, I'll think of something. Robert rubs her cheek against her aunt's, a glint in her eye. I think we've already got you covered, gun show. She turns to Isabel. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that was gonna stick. It has stuck. Gobbet, Isabel will handle this the same way we did with all your previous work. She didn't say Nigel. All the jobs I line up for you will be sent to your computer on the squad board. She's pointing at you. I got it. Why her? It's a simple process of elimination. She points to the little decker. Isabel isn't the leader type. You got that right. She moves her finger to the orc. As for Gobbet, let's just say Gobbet doesn't have a head for business. Not my thing. Then she rests her finger on you. And then there's Gun Show. She wiggled it. The jury's out on Mr. Gun Show. Meaning? Her response is direct, straightforward. Meaning there's a lot going on in that head in that head of yours right now, and I'm not sure I can trust you. So I'm in charge because I'm the best of the worst? Oh, my sweet, don't put it that way. She opens her arms. You're the most equipped for the role. She's making sense. You're the right person for this, Sarah. I had a handle back in the Barrens. Rain. Guess it's time I dusted it off. Wu shakes his head, eyebrows raised. Gonna be weird calling you Rain again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. Gobbet looks from Isabel to Wu and to you. I guess this is our new crew. The red on her shoulder scurries to the top of her head for a better view. Welcome to the shadows, Rain. Yay. Okay, let's head out. Crew advancement available. As you lead your team through the shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Clicking the icon in the lower right hand corner of the screen will open the crew advancement menu. When this icon is highlighted, one or more of your companions is eligible to learn a new combat skill. At each advancement level you may choose one of two possible combat skills for each of your runners. Choose wisely. Now, I think in the last game, I didn't do this until like 3/4 of the way through. So, what have we got? Spiritualist. That's quite a good one. Narrow breakaway. Well, let's do that one. Not too keen on these summoning spirit things anyway. Crowd controlled, and against ability there's 2 AP damage and imbalances target to make him easy to hit. Ooh, I like that. And she gains Tar Blaster. Yeah, that's... Okay, so that's now clear. Fair enough. Let's see if there's anybody else down here who wants to talk to me. I think the answer is probably no. Reliable Matthew. Smooth jazz drifts from cheap speakers on this barge. A wide array of worn-down drones litter the battered deck. Most are utility and domestic types, but a few cordoned off from the others are low-end security models. The salesman smiles indulgently at you, a tall, lanky human of clear Cantonese ancestry. He's wearing a cheap suit and limply clutching a smelly cigarillo. He adjusts his tie with exaggerated nonchalance. Languid, ostentatious, like an American casino promoter. Hey there, beautiful. Welcome to our little floating heaven. You've got a discerning look to you. What brings you to Reliable Matthew's Robot Bazaar? He taps ash over a bulky cleaning drone beside him, not waiting for an answer, but he continues. Perhaps you're looking for a hexacopter as a guide to Hong Kong, or a little handheld tarantula beauty to brew your tea. Buying a drone is much like making love to a beautiful woman. Are you calling me beautiful? You know it, beautiful. I hope I don't offend. I just can't help it. To me, everybody's beautiful, baby. Right back at you, beautiful. Oh, a woman after my own heart. You Reliable Matthew? That's right, Reliable Matthew Shun, at your service. He extends his hand to shake. The odors of peach-scented moisturizer and stale tobacco smoke wash over you. How about it? Shake his hand. Pleasure to meet you, Reliable Matthew. Always, always. Welcome to our little patch of peace on the river. I think you'll really love Haoi. It's just a fantastic place. Well, now that we're acquainted, maybe I can brighten up your day a bit. What's on your robot list, friend? I'll go now. You take care now. Yeah, not really interested in that. Talk to Jin. As you approach the small landing, you see three men, two elders and a younger man, hunched over a go-board. The juxtaposition of the two white-haired, white-bearded men and the black-haired man is almost comical. The three resemble the small black and white stones of their game. Despite the variety of ambient distractions, the three men remain acutely focused on the game. One of the elders, a round-faced man with a beatific smile, carefully picks up a black stone and places it on the board. His opponent snorts and a small smile flashes across his long face. Almost carelessly he snatches a white stone and deposits it on the board. The smiling man groans and the long-faced one proceeds to collect several black pieces off the board. Ah, you got me there, Jin. He laughs, a pleasant full sound. As he trails off, he spots you watching the game. A broad smile brightens his cheeks. Why, hello there, young man. Something you need? The long-faced man gives you a cursory look and continues to collect black stones. Just a Gorka show. It's your turn. Name's Rain. Got a second to answer a question or two? Shiny nods. I could use a short break. How about you, Jin? Jin sighs, shoulders slumping forwards. After a moment of scowling, he reluctantly speaks. Fine, a short break. The two elders turn towards the younger man. He looks to be in his early 30s, but it's difficult to tell. The skin on his face is smooth and supple, with only the suggestions of creases of the eye, mouth and forehead. With small gestures, a blink, a flare of his nostrils, briefly reveal the lines of his face. The man's eyes rise from the go-board and study the elders. He nods. I've been hearing about strange dreams here in Haoi. Have you had any nightmares recently? The three men exchange looks. Shai turns to you. What a coincidence. Wasn't but an hour ago that we were all discussing that very thing. We've been having bad dreams, every one of us. I've had them myself. We should compare notes. What did you dream about? Is that right? Jin leans in and stares at you. Can't say I'm comfortable with giving a stranger details about my dreams. Shai waves his hand dismissively at Jin. Don't mind him. He's always been a poor sport. But he raises a good point. Some of our dreams contain information best left private, just as yours do, I'm sure. Having just met, I can be sure that you respect our personal information. I'll tell you. The younger man's voice cuts through the din like a razor. The elders fall silent. He turns to you and looks his eyes, dark orbs that burn with piercing scrutiny into yours. He nods and returns his gaze to the go-board. I believe you're trustworthy, please. Right. Make yourself comfortable. I'll share my dream with you. I appreciate it. Go ahead. He exhales slowly and then begins speaking. I dreamed of a long, dingy hall. When faced with such a thing, one generally walks its length. So I lifted my right foot and placed it in front of me. But upon taking that first step, I found myself instead drawn down an alleyway to my left. It wasn't there before this alley. It appeared only as I began to walk. As I moved down the alley, I found myself surrounded by friends and loved ones. They all stood there silently watching me, smiles on their faces. And as I passed each one of them, they fell to the ground in my wake, dropping like puppets with severed strings. Somehow I knew that if I followed this road to the end, I could have everything I'd ever dreamed of. But I woke before I could reach it. He folds his hands in his lap. There's a moment of silence before Shayu speaks up, the rosiness in his cheeks having drained away. I too saw the long hall. My own experience was different, however. The hall was far off in the distance, and I was looking down on it from a strange angle, as though I were perched on a wall high above. He pauses and looks at you. You know, young woman, Rain, you look very much like the person I saw walking that hall. She moved steadily down the path, walking at an even pace, and just behind her a great and terrible shadow followed. Of course I didn't have the best view up there on the wall, or wherever I was. It could have been anyone. Perhaps this old mind of mine is seeing your face now and misremembering the dream. He lets out a chuckle, and a small flush of red returns to his cheeks. He looks over at Jin. All right, Jin, go ahead. Jin broods in the corner, his arms crossed and jaw set. I've changed my mind. I don't want to share my dream. Nonsense. Master Lao and I have both told her our dreams. Now it's your turn. Jin sticks out his lower lip. No. I don't want to force you to do anything. He holds his palm up towards you and looks at you. See, straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have to. Jin, Lao's voice is firm but soft. This is important. Jin's mouth opens and closes like a gasping fish. But as he looks at Lao, his body relaxes, and the sadness seems to take hold of his features. All right, but don't you go repeating any of it, do you hear me? He takes a deep breath and slowly releases it, folds his hand in his lap. My dream began as a nightmare. I dreamed of the failures and mistakes that I've made throughout my life. The people I've let down, the competitors I've crushed, the wife who died in hospice without me. I dreamed of the family I abandoned. A change comes over him. His eyes brighten and he continues energetically. But then I dreamed of the walled city. I stood before it and its door opened to me. And when I passed inside, all of my guilt fell away. It was as though the city had absolved me, had washed away my guilt. And I remember feeling happy. As his remembrance ends, so does his lightened mood. His face shrinks into a pout and he stares grumpily at the ground. There, I did it. You happy? Lao nods slowly. Thank you, Jin. You have my thanks too. Yeah, now we can change the subject. My ulcer's acting up. I'm guessing you've been around these parts longer than I have. Is this sort of thing normal? If it were normal, we wouldn't be huddled around discussing among whispers now, would we? Enough of that, Jen. Rain here asked in earnest for our advice. She deserves a proper response. Shay gives you a gentle smile. Please forgive our friend, but the years have left him suspicious of others. The answer to your question is no. Upsetting dreams have never been uncommon in Hayoi, but these recent visitations have been different. They've been darker, more vivid, stronger than normal dreams. Last night I felt consumed by the sense that something was coming. While my friends here felt a sense of relief and excitement as their dreams ended, I felt as though I was sitting on the precipice of some vast and terrible chasm, with the void yawning beneath my feet. Suddenly his cheeks flush. He blinks twice and then looks away, but perhaps these are just the ramblings of an old man. Please forgive me. He scratches his nose, embarrassed. You speak wisely, Shayo. It is foolish to embrace a thing that you do not understand. What Jin and I saw in our dreams was alluring, but so is the light to a moth. Your instincts are still strong and sharp, my old friend. It is wise of you to trust them. Shayo bowed deeply, his eyes to the ground. Thank you. I can only hope these dreams do lead to something beautiful. There's already enough deception in this world. Jin groans loudly. Can we get back to the net game now? I don't want to keep you. No, of course. Stop by again sometime soon, Ray. Your company has been refreshing. Thanks. Good luck with you again. Appreciate it, John. We'll be seeing you. Excellent. So we shall call this episode done here. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe. If not, do not worry about it. Thank you again, and goodbye.